Battletech hex maps, are they too small for serious Tactica? That's what we're going to explore in this vlog. And I guess I have to framework that by saying, what's an average Battletech table size? What do you play with? Now, I would say for myself and the Battletech group that I play with, we tend to play on a wargaming sized table. This could be a hex map or it could be no hex map. We've got a really, really big table. A lot of room for maneuverability, a lot of different ways that mechs and vehicles can interact. But if I scale that down when I go to play at a store or a club, we do maybe 2 or 3 hex maps. However, there have been times based on time constraint or physical constraint, literally the club is packed and we've got one little table, we will play on one hex map. Now, of course, I guess a side question would be, how many vehicles, how many mechs, how many pieces could a hex map hold? If I've got 2 lances, 3 lances playing on one hex map, that's going to be a brutal, no mercy type game. But there's a lot of stuff on the table. There's going to be very little maneuvering. However, if I'm playing 1 lance on a hex map, that's kind of reasonable. So let's look at 1 lance on the hex map. What I would counter and say is mechs that work at extreme close range are going to have an advantage. What got me thinking about this is I actually don't have this mech in my list, the King Crab. You're like, Fritz, I've been following your Battletech videos for a while now. Dual autocannon 20s, bam, 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 heavy armor. Like, what are you talking about, guy? How do you not have that mech? Well, a good friend of mine this is his mech. He always plays this mech. So the games I play against him, like, that's his mech. That's his signature mech. Like, I'm the most feared Locust pilot in the inner sphere. I'm putting down 8 to 10 SRM 2-pack medium laser Locusts, and I'm going to Locust swarm you. Like, that's my thing. That's my gimmick. I love longbows too, and archers, and LRM carriers, and tanks with PPCs, and infantry and VTOLs, warriors. But his thing is the King Crab. Well, enough time has gone by. I got to start rocking the King Crab. So I'm working on painting this mech up, and that got me thinking on a hex map. This was the framework for this vlog. That's going to be a slight imbalance. I'm going to make it up there. And if I start on one side of a single hex map and you start on one side of a single hex map, given the speed and armor of the King Crab, how many shots are you going to get on me? I'm going to catch up to you, and then I'm going to blast you because you're physically limited by the borders, for the most part, of that hex map. If you're using kind of the basic rules, you can't willingly exit. You could force withdraw or retreat, but you're not coming back. But then I was thinking on the opposite side, if we look at something like longbows, I park a longbow or an LRM carrier in the back, I'm going to have nice reach. I'm going to have nice penetration, but one hex map, you're going to catch up there. You're going to catch up to me eventually. In what? 2 turns, 3 turns, and where am I going to go? And you're going to blast me. But then we have a mid-spectrum series of mechs like the Wolverine or the Catapult, Wolverine Catapult, that they'll be fine. They've got some different ranges. They can run and gun. They've got maneuverability. They're not the extreme of dual autocannon 20s or dual LRM 20s parked in the back. So the question is, does the size of the hex map or the tabletop that you're playing on influence lance design? Does it influence the possible mechs that you take? Or does it more or less balance out if you play with a single lance on a hex map? Generally speaking, 1 hex map, 1 lance.